Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my channel. Let's start with some pec bounce. So today I'm going to talk about my biggest training mistake like ever, and that's not training hard enough. Now let me explain why was that such a big mistake in my training career. Now when I first started training, actually obviously I didn't know how to form the exercises the correct way. I used bad form and I just didn't know what I was doing. So obviously that's most people when they start lifting. And obviously I learned, I corrected my form, but something that at first I was training hard. I'll be honest, I was training hard, but something happened. I just got lazy for some reason, and I stopped training hard enough. I stopped pushing myself. Off my sets, off my reps, they looked like I was just going through the motions. Everything seemed easy, and it just wasn't hard. Everything looked like I was warming up, basically. And I never got the gains that I wanted to get. And that was for many years. I didn't really see great results. And eventually, I decided to stop lifting. That was many years ago, before I started my YouTube channel. And I quit for I believe 2 to 3 years. I stopped lifting. I just didn't do anything. I didn't go to the gym, I didn't lift any weights, and I remember in 2019 I actually bought the barbell that I have right now. So in late 2019 I bought a barbell, a bunch of plates for that barbell, and a pair of dumbbells, and that was everything that I bought. And believe me, you can build a great physique by just using barbells and dumbbells. But I didn't lift weights for a year. When I bought everything, I didn't lift weights. And eventually I started lifting again, and at first I was pushing myself, but eventually I got lazy again, so I started leaving reps in reserve, because everyone on YouTube was basically talking about that, leave reps in reserve, and that's what I did. And progressively overload, meaning when you, let's say you do 5 sets of 12 reps with 150 pounds, you have to add 5 pounds and try to get 5 sets of 10 reps again. But I was able to do that, but I was still leaving at least 5 reps in reserve. So I was making very slow gains. At first I was making great gains, and that was in late 2020 when I started lifting again. I only had the barbell and dumbbells, so I was able to lift weights. I wasn't able to train chest, but in 2021 I bought the flat bench press that I have right now. And at first again I was training hard, but I reached a point where I was leaving reps in reserve and I wasn't making any progress. I did that, like I had periods of just being lazy and periods of where I was pushing myself harder. In 2022, late 2022, I got very lazy. I stopped pushing myself. I started missing all the workouts, and I had my home gym, so that doesn't make sense, right? So skipping workouts again. When I was training, I was lazy, and that was the same for 2023. And everything changed in 2024, late 2023, early 2024. I actually started training a lot harder now. Some of the sets I started to take to failure. Some of the sets I knew that it's not smart to, on certain exercises, to take sets to failure, like on the bench press or the squat. But I tried to train harder. I tried to make sure that the last step was very challenging and slow. And that's when I started to make great gains. So I was very happy. You can actually check out my progress over the years. Started my YouTube channel in early 2022, and at first you can see when my physique looks better. I was actually pushing myself. Like in the summer of 2022, my body fat percentage was high, but I had like muscle mass. And then late 2022 I started losing that muscle because I got very lazy. I also didn't eat enough protein, but that's another topic. And basically most of 2023 I was very lazy, but I believe in the spring of 2023 I started pushing myself, but again got lazy. Skipped a lot of workouts, left a lot of reps in reserve, and then late 2023 I actually did a cut. So that's when I started thinking, let's train harder to keep my muscle, and that's when I did. And then finished with my cut, started bulking. Hey, let's keep. I saw something on YouTube, started training harder. I was bulking at that time, and yeah, that's when I started to make great gains. So yeah, that was probably my biggest training mistake. Like, I wasn't training hard. And let me give you some more information. Actually, there are specific muscle fibers, like upper threshold muscle fibers. They're also known as the fast twitch muscle fibers, and these muscle fibers, they have that size potential. Like, if you make them grow, they're going to give you that size. The slow twitch muscle fibers, they don't have that size. Like, they don't grow, and they're more like for endurance, so they're not going to grow. So that's why I believe in using certain weights, like not doing very high reps, turning training into cardio with weights. I don't like that. So also the effective rep study shows that the last few reps, I'm not sure about the specific number of reps, so we'll never know that, but they showed 5. Now I don't believe it's actually 5, but it's a nice theory. The last few reps, they're going to stimulate that muscle growth. So if you're past the beginner's phase, you actually need to push yourself harder, and that's when you're going to stimulate muscle mass and you're going to see gains. So yeah, that's my biggest training mistake. Leave a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and see you very soon.